Hello, everyone, and you are listening to the Triple T podcast, Tony's Tech Talks. My name is Tony Seminary, and I am based in the City of Roses, Portland, Oregon. During my day job, when I'm not doing podcasts, I'm the founder and CEO of IT Motives. We are a technology recruiting company for executive search, direct placement, and contract staffing, and we do it both on a retained and contingent basis. If you would like to learn more about IT Motives, feel free to visit our website at itmotives.com, and that's also where I will post this podcast as well. The premise of Triple T, Tony's Tech Talks, is to really learn people's stories. We also want to know how people got into technology, maybe how they're using technology, kind of what's going on in technology. And without further ado, my guest today is Kishore Bhattacharjee. Kishore is the Vice President of Engineering with Navis. They're a globally based company in Bend, Oregon, and they write software for the hospitality industry. Kishore, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to attend this show and chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. As I mentioned, part of the premise for the show is to let the guests know, the listeners know more about your story. I call it kind of the Reader's Digest version, if you will. Could you tell us more about Kishore, how you got to this point in your career, and how you got into technology?
Yeah, absolutely. My background had been with technology as I graduated in electronics and communication engineering, but definitely not close to the software, right? So It was very much with electronics and communication engineering. But when I started my career, I used to be Unix operating system administrator. So that was my first job that I got in.
No kidding.
it was closest to hardware, but not really hardware or electronics per se. Yeah. But then, I moved on to become an Oracle DBA. But throughout my graduation and my education, I was very passionate about software. At the time, the Cunningham Ritchie, the C book used to be the book that you would use. And I was very much involved and kind of nurturing the skills of the software programming on my side. During those times, I used to support systems like race course, which is a betting systems across several race courses in India. I used to support the check-in systems in Indian Airlines and Air India. So I was involved in a lot of the system side of it. It was an interesting story how I got into software programming per se. So I was supporting one of the major Derby race in one of the race courses in India. And they ran into a software glitch. And it was right before the fifth race of the jackpot pool. So it was so intense that they were about to cancel the race because the whole entire system kind of had a glitch. And they were trying to get hold of someone from the software team to come in and help, but there wasn't anyone available. So I kind of raised my hand and say, hey, I want to help and troubleshoot and fix this software problem. It was really intense kind of getting into that. But that was my first foray to apply my skills that I have been nurturing. And I helped solve the problem and recover the race so that they could continue on. So that was my first time, full time, going from a system DBAs to software engineering. Since then, for the last 24 years, I have been doing software engineering. After I completed my MBA with Arizona State University, go Sun Devils, moved into leadership roles. And, I worked in several industry domains like smart card payment systems processing, dealer portals at Caterpillar and Freightliner, B2B to C, digital initiatives in Cambia, which patient education platforms at the Wellview, electronic medical records platform at ZoomCare, and finally the enterprise SaaS CRM platform that we have here in Navis. So that's my journey coming from a graduation to where I'm in today. I would say my expertise, I would say, is definitely building and running scalable multi-tenant SaaS applications and data products, leveraging cloud-based distributed architecture. That's what I've been focusing on, and I'm really enjoying what I'm doing.
It's a great story. A couple comments. When you were a Unix system admin, what was the flavor of Unix back then?
That's interesting. There was definitely no Linux at the time.
Right.
It was the mini computers that we used to use was a Motorola-based systems, not an Intel CPU, and it was a specially tailored or custom designed Unix system. So every software companies would have their own version of Unix that they would specifically tailor for their chip. So that was a Unix system we used to use at the time.
I ask because I did a lot of recruiting back in the day for Unix sysadmins, as you said, even before Linux. And there was Sun Solaris. I think Cal Berkeley had their own version of Unix. There was Sequence version. I think they had a version of Unix. So more curious than anything. Yeah, interesting now how you got your start in systems, and through the Derby, through that glitch, and people weren't going to get paid out, you saved the day, and you made a lot of those folks very happy that did get paid out.
Right. And and after that, I kind of moved full time into a more of a software engineering role from the system engineering. So that was a very good transition for me, and it kind of I would say is a kind of, first of all, really following the passion, which I was, and the second of all is that kind of getting out of the comfort zone and say, okay, there's definitely customers having some challenges and how I can help them, right? So that has kind of worked through my journey in this process.
Always solving customer problems.
Yeah.
And by the way, just put a plug in for the Pac-12. I'm an Oregon Duck. You're Arizona State, so go Pac-12.
Thanks.
Prior to entering into the tech field, what was your first job in life? Do you recall what that was? Were you newspaper delivery boy? Were you boxing groceries at a supermarket? What did you do?
Yeah, so definitely not haven't had a chance to do that. The way the education system works back then, you're kind of full time doing education, and that's what's your primary focus. So that's what I've been doing. I did do some gigs during my final couple of years in the college days. That was primarily into the electronics space.
Yep.
So there are a lot of there are Xerox factories that would build the electronics machines. So it's kind of your internship or learning as a part of your job or part of your study. So I did that. I wouldn't call it more as a gig that sure. you would do, but it is more of a part of the study. You kind of spend time with the electronics company because your major being electronics and communication. But I never got to follow that after the graduation. And when you're looking for a campus, when the campus recruitment happens and you find the job, and that's the first job you get into. So that's how I kind of ended up into a Unix administration or software, kind of closest to software I preferred.
Sounds good. Tell us more about Navis. Tell us more about your team. I described you all as software for the hospitality industry. Maybe I'm sure you could do a much better job of that than I could. Tell us more about Navis.
Yeah, so your summary is definitely right on. So we are a SaaS technology platform for the hotels and management companies, casinos and vacation rentals, which combines a sophisticated revenue generating voice channel with all the essential elements of a great vertically integrated CRM. And the reason I would say vertically integrated CRM, because we are very specifically tailored to hospitality. So we have all the integrations and the data interfaces are very much tailored to the hospitality industry and the system. For example, we have close to 40 integrations with the property management system. We can directly plug and ingest data from there to build a CRM. Wow. So that is our core offering. But combined with that, with that platform, we have a service and the unique strategies which are very specifically tailored to hospitality. And the value we bring is that we bring the client's data, reservation sales teams, marketing teams, and the revenue teams together so that at the end of the day, they can drive more direct bookings revenue and personalize the guest experience. That is our core value proposition.
That's awesome. Yeah. Is there a typical use case? I know you mentioned hospitality, obviously, and I didn't realize about casinos and vacation rental properties. So that's good to know. But is there a typical use case for Navis?
Yeah, absolutely. And so first of all, our purpose is to unleash the potential of the people and the enterprises we serve, right? Yeah. We have a culture of customer obsession, and with every team member, that is our core responsibility to act as a coach and the guide to help our customers, our clients to be successful. One of the things to call out is that we are really proud of our NPS score of 65 in both software and service, something which is really shows that our continued value and the success of our clients' experience working with the Navis year after year. The challenge that we have seen is that typically you would find the hospitality teams kind of work in the silo. It is there in other industries as well, but it's very much there in the hospitality industry. And these data and the functional silos that we have combined with the disconnected decision making are costly, right? And it sometimes curves the effort to drive, capture, and convert direct business, because that's the core value. Yeah. And it also, kind of hinders the ability to deliver the best-in-class customer experience. So what we solve, by aligning that marketing teams, sales teams, revenue leaders together around that one source of truth of guest data, the hotel management companies and the vacation rental teams can really work in harmony, can break down the silos, leverage the one true data sets, and can really drive high shared revenue goals and the guest satisfaction. So that is a typical use case that we are solving in the market today.
That's awesome. Yeah, great. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
What's your...
one thing, I'm sorry to interrupt. One of the things I would call out, that the value that you bring in the market is, what we have seen said that some of the clients have delivered incredible results or gained incredible results from that strategy and leveraging our platform. For example, there's luxury properties like Coeur d'Alene Resort. They attributing about $4.5 million worth of additional revenue. And one of the prestigious hotels in North America, Grand Hyatt, New York, they have cited that the Navis platform is giving them 11-to-1 ROI. So that's the unique combination of the platform and the strategy is what really helps our customer to maximize the revenue and the results.
Sure. You mentioned the NPS. I'm assuming you're talking about Net Promoter Score is 65. What is the goal for that? Do you have a goal to be higher than where you're currently at?
We always strive to be higher, actually, right?
Of course.
That is absolutely critical for us. We are, as I said, we are our core of it is customer obsession. We are here to help support and guide our clients to maximize the revenue. And the biggest testament and the validation of that is the Net Promoter Score.
Yep.
How our client sees us, how we have helped them to be successful is the true purpose of us being here in the industry. So we are absolutely proud of our NPS score, and I would say we are going to constantly look for higher and higher bar.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. What's your tech stack at Navis? I know it actually, but I don't think everybody out there knows. So, what's it built on?
So, one of the things is, we have been in the business for the last 30 years. So we have grown over the period of time, and our technology stack has evolved over the years as well. Our current technology stack is definitely heavily leveraging cloud stack. We are leveraging AWS in a big way. Our platform is more moving towards a microservices distributed architecture, because that is absolutely critical for us to as we move from current state to the higher states. And also, it helps us to build and deliver value faster. Some of the key technology frameworks that we heavily use are definitely all our front end is based on React. We use the React platform frameworks really well. Our backend technology has some components, some services which are leveraging heavily Java Spring Boot. We do leverage Node.js quite a bit as well, and we have major core data platform that is heavily leveraging Python as a core programming language.
Very good. And I'm assuming, well, I'm not assuming, I know that you folks have technology openings. Maybe you could talk about what you're currently looking to hire for, and also what you're thinking you're going to be hiring for in 2021 as well.
Yeah, so absolutely. We have several initiatives, and I call it cool projects, which are going on in all the product lines that we have, that includes reservation sales and the marketing suite, and also we have some of the initiatives is focusing on the core platform that includes our data platform and the core CRM. The openings that we are looking for, definitely we're looking for a leader for our platform services team, which is one of the core team that builds all those reusable sets of services around this core CRM and how it is leveraged across the platform in all those verticals. The second one is we are expanding our DBA, DBRE capabilities. So we are definitely looking to fill those roles. And in addition, as we are moving with some of those initiatives, we will be looking for more full stack engineers who are comfortable working with the React and the backend services, either Java or Node, and also heavily working with data engineering tool sets, for example, Pythons and other AWS data engineering tools as well. So those are some of the skill set we are actively looking to hire, and we're going to continue to hire going into 2021.
Very good. Very good. You spent a number of years at Cambia. You mentioned that earlier, how you've worked there, and they're an enterprise health insurance company in Portland, obviously, and they have 5,000 employees. And talk to me and talk to us about what it was like to make a transition to a company like Navis. 250 so employees, 60 plus in engineering. You've obviously worked in both now, the enterprise and the smaller companies. What kind of advice would you give to people that are making that transition, either going from a large to a smaller company or maybe vice versa?
Definitely, that's a great question. So I've worked in a large company like Cambia, and also have worked in companies like Freightliner and Caterpillar, and also when I left Cambia and prior to Navis, I've worked in some of the growing stage and stage companies like Wellview and ZoomCare. One of the things which is very important I have seen for companies like Navis and important to our culture in Navis are customer obsessiveness and the bias for action. For us, it is very critical that we are making faster decisions and very nimble in adapting and the use of innovating technology. And bottom line, how we are delivering value faster to our customers, right? So.
Sure.
So as we are building all these cool features and experimenting with some of the cutting edge cloud technologies, I feel that anyone who really wants to make an impact in a companies of our size, person needs to have a couple of things. Number one, they need to be very, very laser focused about customer experience, really understanding what our customer is looking for. I call it that you want to be very close to the customer. You have to really learn from customer what they're looking for, so that as we are building the technology, we are solving that problem. And the second is that very critical is that be comfortable to go out of the comfort zone and working with a variety of technology in order to deliver business value. Ours is not that, okay, here are the 5 tools that you will always use. Ours is all about, hey, we have a business problem to solve. We want to deliver this customer value. What are the technology that really makes sense to solve that problem better, effective, and faster, right? So those are 2 things I strongly believe the person coming into the company of our size and making an impact needs to be comfortable with that.
So customer obsession and really being flexible enough to use the right tool at the right time.
Yep, absolutely. And both of those kind of dovetails into the most important thing is that be nimble with decisions, right?
Yes.
The things we talk about on a week after week is, okay, what decisions we are making. And because the faster we make decisions, the faster we deliver value to our customer, the faster we really take our product to the next level. So those are really critical for us.
Sure. Makes sense. What is your why, Kishore? I ask this question to a lot of people, and it's a very innocent, if you will, simple question. Besides providing for your family and putting a roof over your head and things of that nature, what gets you out of bed every day and makes you want to go to work?
That's a very great and thoughtful question. Absolutely, providing for myself and family is absolutely super critical. The part that the things that gets me up every day morning is 2 things, which I firmly believe in my core values and the things which I use on a day-to-day basis. Is number one, am I becoming better than what I was yesterday? And the number 2 is that, am I helping someone today to become better than what they were yesterday?
Yeah.
So those 2 things to me is my core values that gets me up in the morning. And and that better doesn't mean could be several things. It could be better as a person, better as a human being, better in using a certain skill that I have done yesterday, I want to get better at today, better at solving a customer problem today than the way I solved it yesterday. And the similar philosophy that I have when I work with my team and when I work with my leadership team and when we work together as a team to solve a customer problem is that, how we as a company, how we as a team are getting better than which we are yesterday. So those are my driving factor, or how you call the energizer battery that gets me going every day.
I love it. I love it. That is fantastic. What do you do on the weekends? What are some of your hobbies, and what do you do when you're not leading Navis's engineering team?
That's a great question. Definitely, the biggest joy that brings me is that the happiness of my family, right? So that's the most important thing.
Sure.
In the past, I used to have a lot of my weekends time playing actively tennis, and that used to be one of my pastime. But after a torn knee and a torn shoulder, so I kind of moved more into kind of taking a little bit of slower pace with the sports. I picked up pickleball as one of the sports. I really like it. Bend, they have a lot of pickleball courts. In the summer we go there and play, and my wife and kids are really excited about that as well. Cool. They play with me. And the recently other things I picked up as a weekend hobby is carpentry. So
no kidding.
This is something I wanted to do when I grew up. We had a carpentry shop next to our house, so I used to going to school. I used to watch him doing all the carpentry work. At that time, there wasn't much of a power tool. He used like the hand tools and all that to do it. Sure. It always excited me. So finally, I made the courage to pick that up as a hobby. And my wife already created a big backlog of stuff she wants me to do. So that is my weekend sprints now. So I have a sprint backlog, and I kind of like chipping away at that every weekend.
That's funny. Your wife puts you to work on the weekends too.
Yeah.
You mentioned you live in Bend. How did you end up in Bend? How did that happen? Obviously, I know Navis is in Bend, but or maybe a better question is, why did you choose Bend?
Yeah, a couple of things. So I definitely moved to Bend for this particular job. Prior to Bend, I lived about 14 years in Portland when I worked for Cambia and Zoom Care. The couple of things. First of all, company and the culture at Navis is the most important thing that attracted me when this opportunity came. So that was definitely the most biggest factor. And the second is that Bend is a very nice place. It's a small, beautiful town. The view of the mountain that I can see from my window here. So there's definitely a lot of positive energy around it. So those are some of the factors that brought me to Bend.
Yeah. You think you're there for a while? Is that like your new home, or?
Yeah, it is currently my new home. Been here for 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Bend's a great place. As you said, there's so much to do there. It's a vibrant community. If you love outdoors, Bend is the place to be. And there's a tech community that's building there. A lot of people aren't privy to that, but Bend is really starting to, if you will, scale up with technology and technology opportunities. So
yeah, absolutely. I definitely look forward to summer. I can't play a lot of winter sports. I think that's probably my other knee is going to go away.
Right. You're not going
But
up to Bachelor or Hoodoo anytime soon, right?
right. But I love the summer. I love the trails. I love the biking. So
Yeah,
those are definitely, is a beautiful, beautiful way.
sure. So what's a fun fact about you that others may not know outside of work? I know you mentioned carpentry and, pickleball and things like that. Is there anything else that people may not be aware of who Kishore is when you're not leading the Navis engineering team?
The I think I covered most of it. I generally um, tend to spend more time with my family when I'm not working. That is I find it really that's a great way to as a family kind of stay together. So definitely, that's been one of my biggest pastime, spending more and more time with the family.
Sure.
The carpentry is definitely, one of the things. A lot of people doesn't know that how did I end up picking up carpentry, and how it kind of goes back to my childhood
Yeah.
hobbies of something I saw someone doing and really kind of got excited about how you make shapes out of the wood, right? So
Yeah.
so that was definitely, one of the fun facts about me. The other one, which is not really the pastime, but a lot of people have seen that, when I am in discussions and all that, I kind of doodle quite a bit, and like I'll put
Oh.
some create shapes on the paper and all that. I'm not a good
Uh-huh.
artist by any means, but but that's out of the way. Part of my brain processes things.
Sure.
How do I keep scribbling on paper?
Sure. Cool. Thanks for sharing. Getting into tech has really gotten popular. There is the advent of, code schools and, you know, obviously going to a university or a college and getting a 4-year degree and maybe getting into computer science, especially now with it's so hard to find tech talent, as you know. What kind of advice do you have for folks that are either getting into technology or thinking about it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Irrespective of the pandemic and all that, what we have seen, especially in the tech and software engineering, is a very sought after skill set, and there
Mhm,
is more demand than the availability of talent in the market, right?
mhm,
I think one of the things I would say anyone getting into the tech industry is that one of the things you would find there is the biggest confusion that is for all newcomers coming in the field is the myriad of programming language and frameworks, right?
mm,
Full stack, back end, front end, JavaScript, Java. You
mhm,
you hear all those things, right? And sometimes as a newcomer, you kind of struggle. Okay, what do I do? Do I learn Python, or do
mhm.
I learn Java, or do I learn this?
Yes.
And my advice to anyone coming into this field is that irrespective of technology and all that and the frameworks and all that, the first thing is to get your foundation right. It doesn't matter what programming language you use,
Mhm.
but the good engineering needs a solid understanding of the fundamentals. So
Okay.
that is the most important thing. And the
Mhm.
second is that, be very adaptable to get out of the comfort zone and learn and work with new programming language and tool
Mhm.
sets
Mhm.
as it comes along, because you may have for example, some of the colleges may teach programming in Java, but you may get into an industry where the core languages they're using in JavaScript. So, and that shouldn't cause a lot of challenges, because if you have the foundations and the fundamentals right, then picking up the new syntax and the new way of development shouldn't be a big barrier to overcome. So that would be one of my advice. And the second one is very important. I personally feel is that software engineering is not just coding.
Mm-hmm.
It is problem solving, right?
Yes.
So creating a tangible feature out of a business use case.
Yes.
So anyone working in the software engineering needs to be comfortable in understanding business, understanding how the customer use their system and how they interact with the system
Mm-hmm.
before they start doing the, okay, I got to write code for it. What is written in the stories? Sometimes there are things written in the stories that what you want to code, but if you really understands how this our customers is going to use the system, you can design better feature sets. So that anyone coming in the industry needs to be comfortable doing that as well.
It's a very interesting perspective, Kishore. I don't think a lot of people think about the business aspect of programming and software engineering. And it kind of comes back to what you talked about with Navis and the culture there being very customer obsessed and making sure that what you're doing is actually solving the problem, right? And taking
Yeah.
care of the business need. Yeah. With regards to fundamentals, could you elaborate a little bit more on that? I think I have a sense for what you're talking about, but I don't want to assume. What do you mean by that from a software development perspective?
The core of it, any software programming is that the core fundamentals that includes like how would you design your data structure and algorithms, right?
Mm-hmm.
What data structure to use, what problems you're solving, what algorithm makes sense based on the
Mm-hmm.
problems you're solving. Those two are definitely most important thing. There are solid design
Yep.
principles of
Yep.
how you design software.
Mm-hmm.
Those are important to know. Irrespective of what programming language you're using, those helps to guide as you're designing software and the writing programming. So those are the things that definitely fundamentals. The other aspects of it is more about how you are testing your system, how you are
Mm-hmm.
writing your test code.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the core fundamentals of how you build a good working software. So those are some things, irrespective of the languages you use, you need to know, and you need to do it on a day-to-day basis. So that's what I would expect the person to have an understanding of it. And then you pick up any tools and any technology or any frameworks to implement those concepts in.
I agree. I think, the overwhelming availability of tools and technologies out there is something that newcomers might have a hard time overcoming. I saw this post of a friend of mine. He said, okay, there's 175 services within AWS. So if you're a new programmer, which one do you choose? And he is a senior programmer that wanted to help newcomers, if you will, to the industry with that. And I think, to your point, be very adaptable, because whatever is in vogue today in a year from now could be legacy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. How do you keep up with changes in technologies and the trends? What do you do to kind of stay on top of that?
Couple of things. Technology is evolving really fast. If you look at even in AWS platform, as you said, there is a new releases happening almost every week.
Yeah.
So I have seen using internet as a good source for learning new
Mm-hmm.
technologies and the trends, being or reading some of those feeds coming from some of the platform like AWS and learning what's happening. Reading their blog post is a great way to keep up to date. I've also found that tech forums like meetups and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes roundtable discussion with some of the other leaders helps, is the best way to learn about the trends and how some of your peers are applying those technology in their day-to-day
Mm-hmm.
life, right? Sometimes vendor uh, demos
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes you learn from the vendors about the new technology they are bringing in. I found those really important.
Yeah.
because it's always as in my role to look for what products and technology can really help and accelerate our engineering productivity and deliver value to market faster while maintaining our competitive advantage, right? So any and all channels of information is I believe as a technology leader, you need to tune yourself to and pick those signals out of those information channels coming in.
I can only imagine in your role as vice president of engineering that you get hit up all day, every day by different partners, vendors. And it's probably one way for you to keep up on the technology is by maybe going through some of those demos, as you said. So yeah, that's great. That's really good advice on how to keep up with it, especially in this ever-changing world, for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
How about one last question for you, Kishore? At Navis, maybe it's this year, we only have another month left, or maybe it's 2021, but what's your next favorite project coming up within Navis?
That's a great question. I have several projects going on. I can't pick a pet project or a favorite project, right? For me, all those projects are critical because at the end of the day, they are delivering value to our customers, right?
Yeah.
Or they will be delivering value to our customers. So I can't really pick a pet projects from that perspective. One of the things I could tell you, without going into specifics, I can tell you that we are working on some of the cool features in our product lines, as well as the core platform that is going to really provide some major capabilities our customers going to love. So something is going to get announced soon. But okay. We are working lots of cool projects. So all of those are very favorite to me. I attend some of their demos, Teams demos. I attend Scrums. The Scrum demos are the best day. So we have Scrum every 2 weeks, or Sprint demos every 2 weeks, and those are the best day for me, where you go attend those Sprint demos and see what the team is producing at every sprint. That was awesome to watch.
Yeah, I bet, to kind of slowly see that technical house getting built, brick by brick. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm sure that's very satisfying. Yeah. Kishore, it was a pleasure. I so appreciate you coming on the show, telling us more about Navis, telling us more about the opportunities that exist at Navis. It sounds like Navis will continue to hire, is hiring, and will continue to hire, and to put Navis on people's radars for sure, and would be more than happy to do that. And it has been just awesome to hear you talk about your professional and your personal journey so far in your life.